Actually, I'm glad that my viewers will have a chance to see evidence of Russian President Vladimir Putin's involvement in corruption and organized crime in Russia. Former KGB spy in Germany, in East Germany, Vladimir Putin, and former head of Federal Security Service, FSB, Russian Secret Police, and successor of terrorist organization KGB, Committee of State Security of former Soviet Communists. Vladimir Putin actually organized and led a terrorist group paid by Russian mobsters that killed businessmen, journalists in Moscow predominantly, and in Europe and Russia area, and actually was paid by Urals area mobster named Pashka Fedulov, who managed to build an illicit fortune by selling fake vodka, moonshine, and who managed to take over Ural Mash, and other small hardware manufacturing plants in the Urals, with the help of Mr. Putin, FSB, and his a few corrupt Russian cops, and of Charuk and of Chinnikov and Judge Kritsky. This is the book I'm keeping in my hand, Putin's Russia, by deceased former journalist named Anna Politkovskaya. Anna Politkovskaya was brutally murdered by FSB colonel, and who was I believe that namely Vladimir Putin actually is the one who ordered FSB colonel to stalk and to murder journalist Anna Politkovskaya in Moscow. He is the one who ordered young Russian immigrant in Hollywood area to organize my assassination, and after that, that young female immigrant, she actually asked her young communist boyfriend to assassinate me. She told him to kill me, and she also yelled to me that Vladimir Putin had called her personally over phone and ordered her to assassinate me, because I am a political journalist who opposed Vladimir Putin, the president and prime minister of KGB and FSB terror. And in his book, Alexander Litvinenko, where he says blowing up Russia, by Alexander Litvinenko and Yuri Felstinsky, the book that blamed Russian president in organizing a murder of Alexander Litvinenko, and in London, Vladimir Putin, being the president of Russian Federation, sent a murderer, former KGB and FSB lead agent Lagovoy, to London with radioactive isotopes, and they actually took advantage of gullible former FSB agent and defector Alexander Litvinenko. They poured radioactive isotope into his Chinese meal in the restaurant, in the Chinese restaurant, and they poisoned him. While that guy was likely to be involved in a series of terrorist bombings in Moscow, and Vladimir Putin, while he was director of FSB, Russian Secret Police, Federal Security Service, ordered former FSB agent Litvinenko to blow up Russian houses in order to punish pro-democratic Russian public, Moscow public, for overthrowing communist terrorist dictatorship in August 1991 with help of a revolution led by former Secretary General Mikhail Gorbachev. for that Russian tyrant Vladimir Putin, who told that Russians are coming and Reds are coming, he was shot, and he also opposed Russian immigration. He also told he was gonna take measures to take care of his critics and like a communist terrorist that he is. He also ordered. He also wanted Russian specialists to return from West, and but I believe that his recent statement in the beginning of May 2008, Vladimir Putin being appointed by Russian President, pro-liberal President Dmitry Medvedev, or pro-communist President Dmitry Medvedev, because I'm not quite certain about Dmitry Medvedev past. As he appointed former KGB terrorist Vladimir Putin as his prime minister, it means he has too much in common with Vladimir Putin being the terrorist. Vladimir Putin decided to order only miserable wages for Russian public as minimum wage, like $123. Which is equivalent of 4,300 rubles, which he mentioned in his speech before Russian Duma, which appointed him vice president with 90% of its ballots cast. And I believe that I call upon the Russian public and the international public to investigate those occasions of were mentioned in the book Putin's Russia. And by the offer, late deceased Russian journalist Anna Politkovskaya, who was murdered by a FSB colonel on orders of Vladimir Putin, former Russian president. And I believe that Vladimir Putin should be investigated, prosecuted, indicted as a terrorist who ordered assassination of Russian journalist Anna Politkovskaya for criticism of his. He was also, Anna Politkovskaya mentioned in her book that Vladimir Putin, the Prime Minister of Russia, actually was paid by Russian mobster, narco mobster, Pashka Fedulov, illegal owner of Ural-Himash, in order to cover up all his misdeeds and to keep judges rubber stamping all those thefts of funds and theft of stock being illegally stolen by Pashka Fedulov, who refused to sell Ural-Himash, while he sold its major part of its stock to stockholders, to shareholders, and then he refused to give them any stock whatsoever. So he committed felony fraud, being also protected by Judge Kritsov, by Yekaterinburg Judge Kritsov, who is corrupt official and who sold out to mobster Pashka Fedulov. Vladimir Putin is a communist terrorist who also organized a terrorist group named Wimpel, a terrorist group of former KGB FSB officers, which was mentioned by Yuri Felshtinsky in his book Blowing Up Russia, where Yuri Felshtinsky actually didn't quote where he got his information, sources of information about Wimpel Group, and never mentioned his sources, which I will try to investigate further on. But I believe that as a political sleuth, I must mention that the fact that Yuri Felshtinsky had contacts with former KGB Colonel Hohalkov, about who mentioned that he gonna strangle defectors with his own hands, something like that. He also made contacts with probably persons who were close to FSB KGB group, terrorist group Wimpel, who assassinated and murdered many businessmen in Russia who laundered money, like Shekhoyan, Saskevich, and others who actually committed acts of terror in Russia and were sentenced to minimum prison sentences. Well, hopefully I will continue investigating Yuri Felshtinsky about his sources of FSB leakage.